There have been phases in my life in which I seem to have arrived at the realization that you speak of, but in every case, they have receded. I cannot seem to remain consistent with them in those phases when I am low. How does one remain consistent with the knowledge of eternal truth once it is realized?
So, the words that convey these realizations are often directly recognized as specific understanding that certain aspects of life have conveyed as lessons to one. This can happen. And practically everybody would say, yeah, that is true. I totally understand. I totally realize. Or this has happened to me. I realized it at this particular point. But this is not realization. This is merely an understanding driven by life experiences. The interesting thing about life experiences is the lesson that you get today may not remain relevant for tomorrow. You stick to that lesson and then you learn one more lesson and then one more lesson and then one more lesson, and this goes on. This is very different from realization, which is the direct cognition of what you are, and once it happens, it is very difficult for it to go away. And then there is no question of you being high or low because you don't relate to it, you don't identify with it at all. So you remain what you are forever, and that is realization. So the fact that you've had these aha experiences, these instances where clarity seemed to emerge in the intellect, these are part of everybody's life experiences. Realization is beyond experience, it is beyond thought, it is beyond emotion, it is beyond experience. Realization is the collapse of all time into this very instant, the now. As long as you continue to remain part of the story, the game, where you see a past, a present, and a future, realization has not set in yet. So you cannot remain consistent with that particular lesson in some other situation because that lesson was relevant to that time when it came into your life. And what you need to do is actually let go of all these lessons, let go of all these so called realizations, and simply be in the now, completely spontaneous, completely allowing the current moment to guide whatever you're supposed to quote unquote do. And that is one way in which you can get to it. But then there are several different ways in which realization can be obtained. It is generally said that the path you took to come into this limited experience, limited understanding from the state of complete realization is the same path that you need to take back in order to get back to realization. So each person may have their own specific way in which this can be achieved. But eventually, once quote unquote achieved, it is seen that it's not really an achievement at all. It is simply a return back to what you always are and have been.